Hello, and welcome to a very special studio broadcast. I'm your host, John Raffis, and today I'll be talking to members of the Treyarch and Raven development teams about the pending launch of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. As we stand here on the eve of the game's official launch, we thought it would be a good idea to touch base with members of the team that made the game, discuss their journey to launch, talk about what's in store for campaign, multiplayer, and zombies, as well as what they are most excited about having you play when you finally get your hands on the game. Before we dive into our series of guests, we'd like to take a moment to acknowledge all of the hard work from everyone at Treyarch and Raven, as well as our partner studios and our colleagues at Activision that all helped to make the launch of this game possible. As all of us are aware, there's no playbook for how to operate during a pandemic, and this year has truly been business as unusual, both personally and professionally. It's required all of us to figure out new ways of moving forward. So, thank you to everyone whose hard work, focus, and dedication in the face of adversity made the launch of Black Ops Cold War a reality. And of course, thank you for taking that journey with us. All right, enough of the mushy stuff. Here to kick things off and talk about all things campaign, we are joined by Dan Vondrak, Raven Software's Senior Creative Director. Dan, welcome.
Thanks a lot, John. It is very exciting to be here and finally putting the finishing touches on the game, and can't wait for people to actually get their hands on it.
All right, first thing first, 2020. It's been a hell of a year. How are you holding up?
Doing pretty good as can be expected with the work from home and the pandemic situation, but really boosted by the fact that, this big journey is going to finally come to a conclusion.
Tell us about kind of how Raven approached Black Ops Cold War and what it meant to be coming into the Black Ops universe.
This really was a dream project for us. Really, it was, how can we deliver that action-packed Call of Duty thrill ride and return the game to the pillars that built the Black Ops franchise? The deniable operations, those secret missions that the government doesn't want you to know about, the conspiracy grounded in real history, and then, of course, that shadowy world of paranoia where everybody has their own version of the truth. We wanted to make sure all of that came alive in this game, and we loved being able to take those elements, drop the player into the 1980s at the height of the Cold War. It really gave us everything we needed to create, a proper direct sequel to Black Ops 1, an immersive narrative with twists and turns. And we just can't wait for the players to kind of unravel this mystery themselves.
Well, tell us a little bit about the working process. Like with Black Ops Cold War being a sequel to the first Black Ops game, how did you and the team kind of get in the right frame of mind to kind of like tackle this creative challenge?
One of the most fun things we were able to do is we actually dove back in to some of the original documents from Black Ops 1. It was our goal to kind of get into that mindset, right? And we could find the actual words that team used to inspire them on the original journey for Black Ops. And so we took some of that and kind of used that to infuse it into this game as a start. We were already huge fans of Black Ops, so we found ourselves making sure that we weren't diving too much into the old nostalgia. We wanted to do enough that it would pay off for fans like us, but also so new players weren't lost. We really wanted to make sure and bring them along slowly. And it was so much fun to start back with Black Ops 1 and then create this totally brand new narrative.
There are some elements that you're also bringing into it. Like it's not more of the same by any stretch. Like there are new characters, new places, new experiences. Tell us a little bit more about what's in store, who we'll meet, and where we'll go.
Yeah, we knew right away that the iconic trio was going to return of Hudson and Mason and Woods. We loved writing scenes with them. We loved seeing them interact with each other, but we thought it was a perfect opportunity to bring in some new characters like Russell Adler and Park and Sims and Lazar. And it was great that that we even allow the player to create their own character to be part of this team. That really helped as the story progressed, let the player experience a more natural flow to learn who these new characters were, and kind of really, if you're brand new to the franchise, learn who these old, iconic trio of Woods, Mason, and Hudson are.
Touch on that for a moment. You talked about sort of kind of customizing your own character, and there's a particular innovation that the team introduces. What did Raven do there?
Yeah, it was really important for us to allow the player to really feel the part of this. We've didn't want to make it so you were just playing a predetermined character. We wanted you to be able to really envision the Black Ops soldier that you wanted to be. So you can pick your skin tone and pick your gender, and even pick some details of your background that give you some small in-game bonuses. We have more interactive scenes in the game where the player can take their character and enter different dialogue options. It was all about pulling the player into this awesome Black Ops universe and letting them experience it in a way that's different from the previous games.
When you talk about some player choices, Raven introduces a particular innovation as it relates to endings. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, well, one of the most important things you have to do is if you're going to give the player choice, everyone wants to understand the consequences of that. And sometimes you've got some choice that just affect the mission you're in, and others have some longer lasting effects. And so at the end of the game, the players actually be able to kind of shape the narrative and see if what some of these different choices have done and how they've affected not only just the immediate characters, but outside globally what happens. So we really enjoy the idea of making these multiple endings and letting the player shape this end narrative.
Dan, as we kind of begin wrapping things up here, I got to ask, what are you most excited about fans playing when they finally get their hands on Campaign tomorrow?
I'm excited for players to experience the variety of missions the game has to offer. That's something the Black Ops setting and the 1980s setting really gives us. We can go from this military tactical operation that can end in a big bombastic Black Ops moment, and then shift over to this cloak and dagger feel where you're a civilian spy and you're sneaking into East Berlin using the old U-Bahn tunnels. And then, of course, there's the Vietnam War flashbacks that give us the big war setting. And it's fun narratively to see how the experiences back in 1968 tie back into our 1981 storyline. So it's just exciting to have the player experience that variety of missions. And I really cannot wait for players to unravel this mystery and get their hands on it.
Before we close things out, is there anything that you'd like to say to the members of your development team now that you've reached this launch milestone?
Yeah, a huge congratulations to the team. This has been a passion project, a dream project for us. And through everything that's happened in this crazy year of 2020, they just kept pushing and driving, and no one ever wanted to put pencils down. And it's really created something special for the Black Ops universe, and we couldn't be happier. So a huge congratulations and thanks to the team.
Awesome. Dan, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely, John. Thank you.
In August, we revealed multiplayer, which in pandemic time feels like about 10 years ago. We caught up with several members of the team that appeared in that multiplayer reveal trailer, and we asked them, now that we're past alpha and beta and people will be playing online tomorrow, what are they most excited for fans to play? Let's take a listen.
I'm really excited for players to dive into the new high player count maps. The spaces themselves are incredible and a really fun gameplay experience.
This game by far is one of our best looking games.
All the gear, all the clothing, the look of the 80s, a lot of it is based on real world events.
We put a lot of love and a lot of detail into all aspects of our game, across both campaign to MP, the zombies.
We hope everyone enjoys it.
I am so excited to have fans get their hands on Fireteam Dirty Bomb.
Fireteam Dirty Bomb.
Fireteam Dirty Bomb.
This is a classic mashup between those multiplayer matches that people love and those larger play spaces with more like a battle royale style experience. Slam them together and you've got Fireteam Dirty Bomb.
It really shows off all the work we did on weapons and vehicles.
Fireteam is a game mode where you're going to have to work together to win. I'm really excited to see how people strategize. That's what I'll be playing, and that's what I hope I'll be playing with you.
I'm super excited to actually get into the campaign. When I played it, I was like, okay, something's exciting with this. When I can jump into it tomorrow, I'll be going to it fresh just like everybody else.
I'm a level designer, and it's going to be really rewarding to see players playing the maps that my team and I have been working so hard on.
I'm most excited for fans to dive into Satellite.
The Black Sea map turned out great.
I love the sandbox gameplay style, and I can't wait to see what people do with it.
Really excited to play with the community.
Hopping into a motorcycle, flying a helicopter, and then shooting the big guns.
Find those combinations of equipment that I like in CAC. A blast playing the game.
It's fun, it's chaos, it's lovable chaos. Everyone's just going to have a blast.
This summer, the studio rolled out an alpha followed by 2 beta weekends in October, with the beta being the most downloaded in Call of Duty history. Players showed up in droves to play through a diverse range of new maps, as well as new modes like Combined Arms, VIP Escort, and Fireteam Dirty Bomb. As we go cross-platform and cross-gen with a unified progression journey that will be shared with Call of Duty Warzone, there's never been a better time to be a fan of multiplayer. Here to talk to us more about what's in store on the multiplayer front and to tell us what they are most excited for you to play is the studio's Tony Flame and Matt Schrantz. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you, John.
Hello.
Oh, the excitement. I can feel it. Okay, let's kind of jump into some general things like create a class, gunsmith, score streaks. What do people need to know?
So if you're playing multiplayer, you jump in the game, you start playing, and we're going to start you off with some default classes. And then once you play a few games, you're going to start ranking up your character. And as you rank up your character, you unlock a bunch of cool stuff. You're unlocking guns, you're unlocking passive perks for your character, equipment, and ultimately you're unlocking, after a few games, create a class. Create a class, you go in, and now you can make your own class, whatever gun you want. You go into Gunsmith, put whatever attachments you want on that. And you're also going to have some field upgrades that you could use, which is a piece of equipment that you put down. It stays in the world for as long as you want. Enemies actually have to come take that thing out. And then you got your perk list. So you pick out which passive bonuses you want to have. That's where you decide if you want to be going into your speed build, if you want to be scouting enemies, finding their equipment. There's a lot of different options in what your play style is, and that's where the perks come into play. And then lastly, after you unlock a little bit further in progression, you're going to get access to a wild card for your class. And that's going to let you rearrange a class in fun ways.
Seeing players really dive into that meta once they really understand a game mode like Fireteam Dirty Bomb, where you can have a ton of fun. You can have some success when you just jump in there with a default class. But once you start unlocking the content there, you really get to start indexing into how you want to play the game. For me, that's the lens I look through, and looking at alpha and beta, seeing players unlock that content and then how they put it to use.
Break those down. I mean, because some of these are like new experiences for people jumping online tomorrow.
So obviously we've got our core 6v6 modes. That's the modes that we all know and love. We spent a lot of time on making sure that those are the best that we've ever delivered. And then Combined Arms, which is our kind of larger but not largest experience. That's where you'll get into our 12v12. And then Fireteam, that's a brand new experience for us, where we've leaned on all of our learnings for the past decade of how can we make a very large experience. There's 10 teams of 4 players each. You're all fighting to blow shit up. It's all about getting kills. It's about collecting uranium. It's about getting that uranium to dirty bombs. It's a sandbox experience where you can go in there. It's so large that you can kind of choose your path, choose your adventure on how you want to tackle that. You can really start indexing and getting into the meta to find ways where you feel you can be successful. And for me, as long as you're having fun, that's successful. It's not always about being at the top of the scoreboard. Some may disagree with me. John, I know you have trouble with that. That said, as long as you got a smile on your face, as long as you had fun at the end of the match, that's success.
In terms of updates since beta, I mean, some of them speak directly to really kind of making sure that you're ensuring the funnest experience possible. One of them, improved spawns. That's something that you guys have sort of dialed in on since beta.
Yeah, absolutely. We at Treyarch are always very, very, very focused on providing a highly predictable and highly competitive and highly fair spawn system. That said, we're never happy enough. We always want to make improvements. Across the board, we've taken a really hard look at all of our maps and modes in relation to spawns, and we will continue to make improvements for launch and post-launch.
And it sounds like theater mode, finishing moves, seasonal prestige. There's a virtual laundry list of goodness coming tomorrow.
Yeah, we've kept the little bit of wraps on some of those things, and we're really excited about the finishing moves that we got coming. We're really thrilled about how those turned out.
Yep. Theater mode you mentioned, dating back to Black Ops 1. We've had it in every Black Ops game since then. Black Ops Cold War is no different. And then you touched on our seasonal prestige. I believe we just had a blog come out with that where you're going to get, way more details than any of us here are going to be able to provide to you right now. That said, it's a very exciting system where we've taken a look at our traditional prestige system. We've taken a look at past games, seasonal systems. You're going to be able to rank up. You're going to be able to unlock prestige icons. You're going to be able to show off just how much of a grinder you are.
I'd like to kind of begin sort of wrapping up with, what is the thing that you are most excited for people to play tomorrow?
We take weapon balancing very seriously. We continue to take it more seriously than ever before. And we've then taken that philosophy and spread it across everything else that you're playing with. So every gun, every attachment, field upgrades, lethals, and score streaks, we're looking at all of that as something that every piece there has a home in this game and it has a use. As a part of that is also the score streaks, the way that we've thought about that. What we wanted to solve with the score streak system, where it used to reset on death, was that it was hard to keep track of when you almost got a score streak or how many you got in a game. And so now you can really track to how you're doing. You can experiment with higher level streaks and you'll see how close you got by the end of the game. It helps players get better and it helps us provide more variety for everyone.
One thing that I'm excited about is a change that we've made from beta to launch is we've swapped out that default score streak of the artillery for the care package. I really love the approach of that Tony's team took with adding that care package in there, because it just immediately opens up so much more variety of content. So when you throw that marker down, you never know what you're going to get.
Congratulations to you guys and to the team on reaching the milestone of launch. And thank you very much for joining us today. Appreciate it. Whether you're playing in Miami's South Beach or the alleyways of urban Moscow, player immersion is a critical component of the gameplay experience. This also drives advancements in audio technology and how audio is able to play a more fully immersive role to help inform players during the gameplay experience. Black Ops Cold War features a series of audio updates, and if I may say so myself, a pretty hot soundtrack. Today, to talk about all that and more, we've got Brian, Kevin, and Colin from the audio department. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right. So maybe just to kind of kick things off, and Brian, we'll start with you. What are you most excited for people to get their hands on or to experience?
Yeah, so we really wanted to focus on the player experience first and improve directionality, distance, and also audio rendering, so we can render up, down, and all around the player accurately. We've built a acoustical simulation that allows us to model how sound travels through the environments, and every map is different because the rooms are built out of different materials. And it properly will calculate reverb, distance, low pass filters, occlusion, and dynamically change throughout the entire gameplay experience.
I actually wanted to add to that because we want to make sure that everything is going towards that goal of knowing where enemies are and knowing where battles are happening. And so, in the big picture, the acoustical work that we've been doing and the system we developed for that is, game changer. When you have your teammates running around you, now if they're to the side or behind you, we reduce that volume so that the player has more knowledge about whether an enemy is around them or not, because they're not getting distracted by their own teammates' footsteps. That is, one part of the threat priority system, which has, many other layers. We give a higher priority to an enemy that's firing towards you versus an enemy that's just firing on the other side of the map, so that those sounds take priority versus the same kind of events that are shooting off an enemy firing a gun. Now we can know this one's more dangerous for you, so we want to make sure that you hear that one versus something that might be zero danger to you at this very moment.
To further on that point that Brian and Colin were talking about, we've also looked really hard at our ballistic system and to kind of let the player know how they're interacting with someone who has, I guess, ill intent towards them. So if an enemy shoots at you, if the bullets are within your danger zone of being hit, you're going to hear the ballistic crack sound, the sonic boom. And it's going to be in the direction of the person who shot at you. And then you'll get impacts, obviously, wherever it lands, and then whiz-bys as well. So you'll be able to use audio to draw a line between where a bullet goes and the shooter. So if you're listening to what's happening, or if you hear those telltale sounds, you should be able to kind of create a picture of where things are coming from.
Can we just briefly just say that 3D audio is really a game changer in the sense that now players on consoles can hear up versus down in a much more,
even on headphones, right?
Even not, yeah, with headphones, like the height actually has meaning.
Attack chopper MTL expended.
Which really helps gameplay wise, especially in multiplayer. Before you could try and fake it, but now with 3D audio, it makes quite a difference in being able to pinpoint sounds, footsteps, weapons, anything.
One of the things that we wanted to come back to is maybe talk about sort of map sound design polish and the work that the team has done there, and sort of what people can expect on day one on that front.
We've done a ton of polish since alpha and beta, both on taking feedback from the community and also internally. Not just adding more ambient audio to bring the world to life, but also tweaking the acoustical simulation stuff we've been talking about. We've also done a lot of work on the filtering. And what that means is when there's an explosion or something that happens far away, we have ways of making it kind of feel far away. And the thing that's pretty awesome about all this is that we're going to keep updating it and keep tweaking the system all the way through our seasons.
And I would imagine that all of that is enhanced through additional audio mix presets that the team has planned.
Yeah, we've added several audio mix presets so that people can sort of tune the game the way they like, and we'll add more as we see what the feedback and thoughts are on those.
Shifting gears slightly, and Brian, I think this is probably for you and Kevin, is tell us a little bit about the music that is in store for the game.
Yeah, we're very excited about the music and the music direction. As usual, working with Jack Wall and his team was phenomenal. Just such a great team of people to work with. Early on, we were kind of looking at, we're doing an 80s game. And you can do a soundtrack that's a period piece, or you can do one that isn't. And in sort of through our process, we kind of landed on let's take 80s stuff but modernize it.
Outstanding. Given the kind of year that 2020 has been, it's kind of impossible not to come back and ask, each of you sort of, there's never really been kind of a playbook for how to work in a pandemic, and everybody had to make the shift to go work from home. I'd be interested to hear each of you in your own words kind of talk about what that journey has been like for you, and how the team has adapted to make it all work.
Sure. There's been a lot of other positives, like, if I'm laying in bed at midnight and I'm like, oh, there's something I want to try, and just get up and walk in the other room and do it. Or if, there's something that needs to be fixed, or there's a break, anyone can fix it almost instantly.
Is that a blessing or a curse?
Yeah. We're obsessive, and it's hard for us to stop doing things. So it's both.
Colin, how about you?
This is the first project where I've entirely worked off of headphones. But just getting used to hearing the game this way all the time, right? It kind of changed how I design sounds, kind of changed how I mix things I would put into the game. And I think overall it's made for a much better sounding game, especially since a large segment of the people who play our game will be playing on headphones. It's been a learning experience, new tools, new ways of working, but overall I think the quality of our work did not go down at all. If anything, I think it just got even better. So I think it'll really show in the final product.
Guys, I know that the request to meet up today comes at a particularly busy time, and you guys are burning the midnight oil. But thank you very much for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now, zombies. In August, team members Corky Lemkiel, Craig Hewson, and Kevin Drew introduced Call of Duty fans to a brand new zombies story. Tomorrow, fans will have the opportunity to uncover dark World War II experiments that unleash a new zombie threat during the Cold War, which frankly sounds like a refreshing change of pace for 2020. Here, to bring us deeper into the world and to prepare you for taking on the undead, we got the band back together to talk a little bit more about what you'll be playing tomorrow. Guys, welcome.
Hey. Hello. Thanks, John.
Craig, let's kick things off with you. If you could, give us sort of a quick primer of the story. What will fans experience tomorrow when they jump into zombies?
They're going to experience a lot, and it's going to be a little bit of a change from what they're used to in the past. You know, we wrapped up a crazy multi-dimensional time-traveling story from all our previous games where our protagonists sacrifice themselves to create a singular reality, hopefully free of zombies. This is that singular reality, but unfortunately, thanks to World War II era Nazi experiments with a particle accelerator, the zombies are back. So it's very much a Cold War story, like the rest of the game, set in the early 80s. What really differs from what we've done in the past, it's less about the soldiers on ground, it's more about the larger world. And I know, Corky, this is something you were really passionate about, the intel system.
Yeah, this is what's really exciting is that, you know, for the first time ever, Zombies has this intel system, this menu where you can go and see everything that you've collected, ciphers, audio logs, objects, you know, so I'm really excited about that. And again, it just makes the whole story more accessible, at least the whole world building more accessible to all the players. So.
Actually, what are the mechanics that you are most eager to have fans experience tomorrow?
There's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot of systems that we're excited about. One of the biggest ones that I'm excited about is weapon rarity. For this game, we want this goal of every weapon matters. And we did this by decoupling kind of the damage tier from any given weapon and broke that out into its own rarity. So that allows every single gun to be used in late game and really kind of showcases how each one feels and unique. You know, we have a lot of incredible teams that spend a lot of time on all of these weapons and they feel great. And so we want everyone to be able to use those. As a bonus, that actually ended up making the other systems like the mystery box and wall buys way more useful in late game. With the rarity additions, what ends up happening is you have to make a lot more tougher decisions. You might get that awesome gun that you love, but if it comes in at a rare level, that's not going to get you very far. So you're going to have to continue to grow that weapon or come back to the mystery box later and try to find something else.
With the new weapon rarity system, how effective will the wonder weapon be compared to legendary weapons? And then also, any surprises in the mystery box?
So in regards to wonder weapons, they have their own unique rarity, which is we label ultra. So in true wonder weapon fashion, these guys are powerful from the get-go. Like if you are lucky and you get one of these out of the box, it will carry you to late rounds. Other weapons, you'll have to build up towards that, but a wonder weapon will always be a wonder weapon. And as far as surprises in the box, we have all of our support in the box as well. So you could easily be at round 5 and suddenly have a chopper gunner that you can use at your disposal.
It's really exciting, especially for me as a zombie player, because now I'm not dependent upon the wonder weapon completely to get into the high rounds. You know, I can, you know, every weapon has the potential to be a wonder weapon. So I love it.
Corky, another question that we got from the community, I'd love to kind of pass this around the table, is what is the team's favorite map from the past? And what's the one thing you're most excited about in D Machine?
Well,
Mob of the Dead.
Mob of the Dead, from putting the team together, flying up to Alcatraz, you know, taking the tour and coming back and making that map. that was pretty special time.
Craig, over to you. Favorite map, and what's the thing you're most excited about with Die Maschine?
I'm kind of with Corky on the Mob of the Dead one, because, you know, working back on Black Ops 2, that was where I really started to get involved in zombies. I'm really excited about Die Maschine because it's kicking off something new that honors the past. It isn't rewriting history. It's happening because of the previous stories. There will be things that are familiar that some people will understand. Samantha Maxis as an adult and seeing what she is now as an adult, and also returning with Weaver, having them as two major characters, it's really kind of opened up so much stuff that I think is just going to grow as the game continues.
Kevin, take us home.
I think my favorite, like, just kind of setting wise, was Zatsubo no Shima. I love kind of science horror and like organic growth, which is a lot of fun. And I thought it was a very beautiful map. And then as far as what I'm most excited about is really just the core combat loop. With all of our additions, the moment-to-moment decision making is so much more engaging. You're killing zombies, and then an equipment drops or some salvage, and you're trying to make those decisions like, do I go and grab this equipment while I'm still fighting off this horde? Once I have enough money, you're starting to make these kind of tough decisions where it's like, do I want to like keep the weapon I have and power it up, or should I try the box? And you're just kind of, it's always happening, and it's just very engaging.
All right, so guys, we're going to do some rapid fire questions from the community. All right, the Zombies gameplay blog mentioned that zombies get stronger as the rounds go on. Does that mean they'll gradually get more health or do more damage, or both?
It's both. Zombies have always traditionally grown health every round, and that will eventually cap out. But in terms of accessibility, we actually lowered the initial damage output of zombies at the very start, and then once you get to round 10, it goes to what it used to be, which is 50 health a swipe. And then at key intervals further down the road, that damage will go up, but at a capped amount.
All right, up next, when you go down and bleed out, do you come back with your loadout when you're revived? Ready, go.
If you bleed out, you come back with your loadout, but we are going to be introducing some catch-up mechanics so that if you bleed out completely, you come back, we're going to give you a certain amount of essence or score that would allow you to kind of catch back up as best you can. And then we're also going to automatically upgrade the rarity of your loadout weapon, depending on what round it is.
Okay. Will we have the option to disable hit markers in zombies? Ready, go.
Yes.
Will there be prestige in zombies?
There is a rumor that there might be a blog post that will explain exactly how we're handling prestige for the game.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today. Really appreciate your time and for giving everybody a little bit of a sneak peek in terms of what they should expect tomorrow. And well, look forward to coming back to you guys for more interviews in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Today, we've talked about campaign, multiplayer, and zombies. That leaves the inevitable question, what about Warzone? Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is the most connected experience we've offered to date. And here to talk to us a little bit more about Warzone and what fans can expect once they start getting their hands on the game tomorrow is our very own Miles Leslie. Miles, welcome.
Thanks, John. When you talk about Warzone, what's really exciting for the team is really diving into how do we make that connected experience. It's really about how do we weave in Cold War and where Warzone left off from Modern Warfare and really put that Black Ops flavor into it so that it feels like not a different experience, but a new experience in that sense.
And so basically, as you play Cold War, you're going to be able to unlock things, and those kind of stick with you across that experience.
Yeah, and to us that was super, super important because you're grinding and you finally get the thing that you want. To have that taken away by something that can feel super arbitrary and out of your control, switching games is a huge thing. We really, really didn't want that. So the teams worked super, super hard to make sure that you retain a lot of that awesome stuff that you got, and then also give you just new stuff as well, right? And have something else to achieve and play with.
So let's kind of come back to the human element of all this. 2020 has been kind of a a very unique year. How have you been doing? How's the team been doing?
I mean, it's a challenge, right? I think the whole world is going through challenges, and I think that we're very fortunate enough to be able to really deploy and work from home when we did it. I don't even know how many months ago. It feels like a blur overall, but I've been super impressed with the team in terms of like productivity and also just wanting to deliver a really, really robust and quality game.
This is a year where, like, not only you're talking about Black Ops Cold War and Warzone, we're also having a discussion about cross-play and cross-gen. What's it been like for the team? What's it been like for the team to kind of conquer that cocktail of challenges?
It's been difficult, to be honest, and there's a lot of challenges, like you said, by layering all these things, but I think the team has really responded in some pretty amazing ways, from working with home and the pandemic stuff, and again, like you said, all the consoles, current gen, next gen. For us, that's been really, really important, is getting over the challenge of, let's get PS4s out here and PS5s over here, and let's start playing and see how these things mix to find the issues, but also find ways to, lean into them as well, right? Like that's also something, is the next gen consoles are new to us as well. How do we take advantage of that stuff? It's been challenging, but we're super excited, and I think we've got some awesome stuff that players are really going to respond well to.
The wouldn't it be cool if list of things that I have to cover is integration with the Black Ops Battle Pass. That's something that people can expect, yes?
Yes, that is a huge thing. And again, it goes back to that connected experience, which is super important to us. But again, that we never want to take anything away, right? No surprises is the really big thing there. Get in our Battle Pass. It's got some really awesome content. I'm super excited for people to get into that for season 1. And, we're really trying to get ahead of all the seasons in terms of what's the right content, and then leave room. And this is super important, especially for Warzone, is leave room to adapt and be flexible.
Once people get their hands on the game, what are you most excited about for people to experience?
That's really tough because it's a huge game, right? It's like you're gonna get the people. I think I'm just super excited for people to come back to the Black Ops universe. Coming from Black Ops 1, we've got a campaign again, and really, it's the first time that we're going back to a historical, real era. We've been in the future in the past few games, and that's really exciting for people to, I think, like put back on the suit that feels familiar, but give them something new. So I don't know. I'm really excited for all the different types of people. Like the campaign dudes I think they're gonna love the campaign, to the Warzone guys, and I think that's the benefit, and really like the sort of like the heart of this game is like, whatever type of player you are, we got something for you, and that's the important thing.
Awesome. Miles, thank you very much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thanks, John.
That about does it for us today. Preloading has already begun, and fans around the world will begin playing soon. Like you heard from many of the devs that we spoke with today, Black Ops Cold War includes a ton of content. What's even more astonishing is that we didn't even cover everything today. On the zombies front, fans will receive the latest chapter in the fan favorite Dead Ops Arcade series. Tony and Matt touched on some of these things earlier, but on the multiplayer front, and starting on day 1, you'll have new maps to play, more game modes in both core and hardcore, new weapons and create a class content, more perks, more score streaks, a new seasonal prestige program, new challenges, and other new features. For more information about the roadmap of content that leads us past launch, head to callofduty.com to learn more. In the meantime, you can always catch updates from Treyarch on Twitter and in the game intel section at Treyarch.com. Check out the links below for all the information you'll need. Now, this is probably a good opportunity for a reminder. Tomorrow, we're all going to be online, and it will be important to harness all of that passion in a constructive way. As we've said before, toxic behavior, abusive conduct, and hateful speech have no place in our community or on social channels. We have a zero tolerance policy against such behavior. Stay well. We'll see you online.